and then Act of Parliament. This organization we are talking about has all the components. In fact, it has two. It's both in executive order and Act of Parliament. So you can ignore Parliament, but you cannot ignore your own president who has instructed you to work and work for him. So you see, it doesn't give you a leeway. So that statement is not correct. May CPO Wandeto?
Yes. Chair, I think that, okay, let me wait to get the PS's attention. I hope I have it now. I think we should not confuse how a body is constituted versus its mandate. The mandate is clear. This is a regulatory body. Can a regulatory body be a state corporation? The answer is yes, and we have many. Communications Authority of Kenya. Is it a regulatory body? Yes. Is it a state corporation? Yes. So let us not confuse mandate for form. Thank you.
That clarity is very, very clear. Lord Chief?
Chair, I want to thank the CS. You know, you used a lot of humility, and humility is power, even in your submission. And even apologies, that's why we were not talking. But there's a conflict here. This is not a department. We don't legislate in vain. We don't have an act of parliament as a department. But Chair, I also wanted to add that the fact that it is not receiving the exchequer money does not exempt it from being audited. And we don't allow private auditing on public issues because it's collecting fee for service. I hope the CS is paying attention to this. In fact, if you go through all the parameters for state corporation, including Mungozo guideline, it has everything. But my point here, CS, is the mandate for this body, if not treated as semi-autonomous. For example, all regulatory bodies, they make sure that all standards are observed at all levels, including the parent ministry. So if you put it under you as a department, you gag it. It does not have the teeth to bite. Number two, which they do also very well, the safety, the working, and all this in those environments. And that is why it was created. So what we are trying to say, ignore that statement, it's confusing, and maintain the humility you started with so that we can get this dispensed with quickly. Thank you, Chair.
Again, Bishop, you have another issue?
The response leads me to the second question on the same, and I'm glad colleagues have prosecuted. The letter from the committee wanted to know why the board has not been established. Actually, it was referring to the two sagas. But when you gave this statement that it is not a state corporation, then it speaks to why you have not funded in your section, in the Valuers Act, Section 26, as you have presented, that the ministry has not given that money. This money was deemed to be at the start, even before the valuation fees or registration, whatever. The first money into this body should have come from Article 26. And I think the legal mind that has provided to the ministry chair denied them using Section 26 of the same act, which the initial funding should have established the board and autonomy of the body. Finally, is this then could have been the reason why the body itself has not been established, that the understanding it was like a department. That's my submission.
Mheshimiwa Nabwini.
Thank you, Chair.
I just wanted to confirm that the lady seated next to the CS is the chair of the board. Thank you. So that means the board is already established and has been existing. Now, again from the presentation, there was an audit observation on the books of accounts that had not been audited. Then when it came out as an observation, the board or the department went ahead and sought services from a private auditor. What advice did the auditors give, the Office of the Auditor General give when this audit observation came out? Because it's like the engagement of the private auditor came after the audit observation, which of course is confirmed from the next paragraph, which was advice sought from the committee. That was very wrong. That was illegal, engaging the private auditor to do public accounts. So what happens now to the audit that was done by the private auditor? Because this is supposed to be submitted to the Office of the Auditor General. Thank you.
The auditor, you had an issue?
Yes, Chair. If you go to the Valuers Act, Cap 532, on Section 3, where it is the board is established, it says it shall be a body corporate with perpetual succession and a common seal. It shall be in its corporate name be capable of suing and being sued. That means this is a body corporate. If you go to Section 26, they have quoted, whereby it says the minister may, with the consent of the Treasury, and out of the monies provided by Parliament, make to the board such grants as may be necessary to enable it to discharge its functions under this Act, and B, pay remuneration and travelling and other allowances to the members of the board and other than members who are public officers in the seat of a salary, and C, make such other payments as may be necessary. I don't think the Office of the Auditor General will only be auditing them when they get those grants from the ministry, and when they don't get it, they will not be audited. They are receiving money from the public, and now this calls it a public entity, which is supposed to be audited by the Auditor General under the Article 229 of the Constitution.
That's a very firm clarity. Maybe both of you, whoever is ready, can respond to various issues raised.
Yes, Chair. Maybe just to clarify, the response is as the situation how it is right now. The board is not independent. It is under the ministry. What we are saying is that there are two things that need to be regularized. One, this valuers board needs to be autonomous. As it is right now, it is under the ministry. Exactly what we are trying to communicate is that it has just been operating as a regulatory institution, but within the ministry. Jacinta here is the chair of the board, but also the director of valuation in the Ministry of Lands. So this, the way it has been operating, it is not autonomous, but it ought to have been autonomous. It should be autonomous, and I think that is what we will do to ensure that this board is autonomous. Number two, the report that we presented here, just like you indicated, Honorable Chair, was that initially, up to now, the Auditor General has not been auditing this. The board has not been presenting its books for audit by the Auditor General. We've been directed by this, by the House, by this committee, that moving forward, we need to comply with that. And we've indicated in our submission that we are preparing already. I did a memo as the accounting officer to all the boards, the surveyors and the valuers board, to be able to comply with the requirement of the Auditor General as the report was presented, and the issue of and the committee as guided by the committee. So I think the Honorable Ekwam indicated that we give a report on what happened after the Auditor General. I think the Auditor General guided us that we should comply with the regulations and that these boards needs to be audited by the Auditor General, and the committee has also instructed us so to comply with the law. And that is exactly what we are saying, that we will comply with the law.
Our mandate, I want to reiterate, is not to treat a patient. Our mandate is to come to the mortuary and find a corpse and tell people that this person is no longer alive, is dead. That's the mandate of this committee. And tell the country, why is this person dead? Therefore, I wouldn't want to look at the future lies in the departmental committee. But we will be addressing the issues that happened from 1985 to the time when we have now come to realize that this is a problem. We have to tell Kenyans, as a result of that irregularity, how much was lost. And Mr. PS, if I may just give you a small mathematics to do. A case where the ministry says the valuers board is given 50 million, and you have spent 30 million. You remain with 20 million. Where do you take the 20 million? Ordinarily, you are supposed to take it back to Treasury. Can we then have the certificates that you took that money to Treasury? Otherwise, that money just ended up in the pocket of the CFO, making some irregular procurement, ended up in the PS office and the CS office. The question, PS, comes, do you have the mandate to do the budget for yourself? Those are the issues we want to address as a result of our journey onto this matter, so that we know how much was irregularly budgeted for. And that can only come out from the Office of the Auditor General, not even from my own side. It has to be picked by the Office of the Auditor General. So we need this issue looked at from 1985 upwards. And that is why, when she was before this committee, we assigned her that whereas we'll be inviting the CS or the PS, we'll want you to provide a schedule of earnings from inception up to date to determine the revenue and expenditure. That schedule, she needs to have guided UPS that is needed, and we still want to request that we need that schedule before next week as we wind up our reports, so that we now need to know how much has this board earned and how was their expenditure. And if there is any money that was submitted to Treasury, can you attach the certificate taking the money back to Treasury? Then that way, we will be on the same page. Maybe you can proceed with the other issues, CS.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I want also first the Chair to respond to the last.
I will be hesitant to give the Chair, because the Chair was here before. She has already addressed us. And if it's a must she talks, we have to put her under oath. We respect the oath that both of you have taken, and that is why we took you to take it and proceed. But if there is need to go beyond yourself, then we will do so, but we have to put her under oath.
Honorable Chair, there's an issue she just wanted to clarify. So if maybe you'd just give her 1 minute to clarify on that issue.
As a matter of procedure, allow me to... Yeah, the reason why the chair is hesitant to give the gracious lady more chance is because she addressed us the last time. We prosecuted this matter to the core. Our expectation as committee is that she made a brief now to you. that this is what the committee was looking for, and prepared the minister and the accounting officer for presentation today. If she does come and present today and do the clarification, she has undermined the responsibility of you, Bwana CS. Listening to your junior, who should have presented it to you, presenting to Parliament, after we had had a time with her, under oath. So to have her come back, I'm sure Chair is right to be hesitant. So, Bwana Waziri, the only way out is if you have not been facilitated with information, what you need to do now is to get the sagas who appeared before this committee now give you a proper brief, so that when you come here, this is your meeting. This is the leader of that particular department. It is yours.
And if possible, she can only whisper to you, but we want to hear the voice of the CS, only assisted by the PS. Allow me to give the Vice Chair some time.
Chair, I want to be the devil's advocate. I don't think there is anything that will bar us from listening to the lady, because she's here. She's accompanying the PS and the CS. Under normal circumstances, there's any delegation that accompanies the CS or the CS can also have a chance to maybe clarify a few things. So I don't think, in my view, because our intention as a committee is to get as more information as possible. So we cannot gag her to give that information that we so much need. It is out of that information that we'll be able to make a decision on our report writing. Otherwise, if we miss that critical information from her, now what will inform our report writing? I don't know. I think, Chair, in my view, honestly, if there is much, because however much we flog this PS, it seems to say the information is here. Why can't you listen to it? So we can't let it to the committee.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa Ward Chief, and then Mheshimiwa Joshua.
Chair, I think we are very clear on the procedures and the protocols. We had the board here. We exhausted the matter. What we are trying to say is we don't gag you from consulting. You can even ask this committee to step aside for 10 minutes. But as it is now, you can only get a supportive voice from both the PS and, of course, the PS can talk. All of you took an oath of office. That's okay. So what the chair is saying, that we had a preliminaries. We are now at the secondary stage. We cannot go back. I think it is as clear as that. Thank you.
Mheshimiwa Joshua.
Chair, I think my colleague has said what I wanted to say, but my addition is that CS, as you have heard from my colleague, that we dealt with the lady before, and I think will be very much unfair if today, because this is not the first CS we have met, and if the other which we met before, we not allow the team to speak to us, I think it will look unfair to the others. So I think the best thing is that the lady can whisper to the CS, or we can give them time to get the CS to get the information from the lady, so that we can be fair to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You want to say something, Mheshimiwa Kevin? Yes.
Bwana CS, we are not putting under pressure. Get it from me. But you are the accounting officer. You know what? No. But both of you are, because you are now the CS.
No, don't.
No.
Order,
Let
Mheshimiwa.
me get my...
Order, Mheshimiwa. No. Get the matters right.
No, I'm getting right. I'm just getting right, Chair. Don't cut me short.
Mheshimiwa.
Don't cut me short.
No, wait.
You don't know what I was going to say?
Wait. The chair is speaking.
Then,
and I say, when you say the accounting officer, refer to the PS, and the CS has his own role. So let's be very clear. Don't refer to the CS as the accounting officer. Proceed, Mheshimiwa Kevin.
cut me short, and I won't want to go beyond that. But I was saying, suppose the lady actually misleads, okay? Then it becomes a problem. You'll be giving us, if she gives us the wrong information, which of course she's not going to do that, of course then the accounting officer is in trouble because he's the one who is actually answerable to this committee. That's what I was saying. So at the end of the day, it's her, it is him who should actually come up with whatever information. So you didn't even hear what I was saying.
Thank you, colleagues. We proceed with the issues. In a democratic space, Mheshimiwa Nixon, you've been in this space before. We allow members to make their contribution, and the majority have said we will go the chair's way, so we proceed that way. When you look at the opening letter which we wrote to you and I've read before, it confirms that she was with us. Let's allow the CS and the PS to proceed with the leading the team. Yes, PS.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Also you know, the chair of the Valuers Board is also a director in the Ministry of State Department of Lands. So she's the chief director and the chief valuer, chief government valuer. So sometimes when we consult her, we are not consulting her as a chair of the Valuers Board, but we are consulting her as a chief valuer and a director in the Ministry of Lands.
That is very clear. If she speaks as the chief valuer, we put her on oath and she speaks as the chief valuer, not as the chair of the board. Then it holds water. We won't mind. I ask the legal counsel to put her under oath. Then she'll be able to speak as the chief valuer. That clarity is important, PS.
Thank you, Chair.
Chair, maybe it's the members who didn't who didn't listen, but I was very keen when they are introducing themselves. That's why I was saying let's listen from her, because I knew her introduction from the word go. She's going to be very resourceful.
Chair, just a clarity.
Yes, Mheshimiwa.
When she appeared before us, she was both the board and the chief valuer, correct? Correct?
No, she appeared as the CEO, the board.
No, I'm just asking a very honest question, and he's nodding her head. Now, because he is having two hats, when now we want to put her on oath as a chief valuer, does it mean when you are briefing the CS, you had not had that cap on? These are questions we have to ask you.
Mheshimiwa, I want to interject a bit. Management is a continuous process, day in, day out.
But Chair, have you understood my comment?
Yes, I've gotten. Kindly,
really?
Yes, Mheshimiwa. Kindly, with due respect to you, what Chief, let her just be put on oath as the government chief valuer. Then you'll now come to put your questions after that. Kindly, Mheshimiwa Chief.
Chair, maybe just so that we can move forward, the clarification the chief valuer wanted to make, because, you know, in the meeting that you called her, some of the questions that were asked to us now maybe were not part of that issue that was called to report to as a chair. But I've just asked her what she wanted to make, and she has said she wanted to actually put it to the committee that the records that were requested that she presents from 1985, she has already done for the last 5 years. We are still going to get the other information back to 1985. So she just wanted to confirm that we've already gotten the records from 2017 up to date, which she confirms that she has presented to this committee in writing, and she's still getting the other information backwards. That's exactly what we wanted to do. But it is she's an important officer, Chair, considering, you know, we've been in the office for the last 1 year, Chair. We got most of the information that we're presenting to this committee. We are relying on our technical officers, which we have come together with them, so that if they need to answer some questions that we may not be briefed on them, then they can be put on oath and they can answer to those questions immediately. But if there are questions that we cannot provide answers right now, then we can ask for more time and then we can present the answers.
Odd Chief, do you have anything to say?
Chair, I'm not objecting, but I just wanted to make that clear that when you are advising the CS, you are advising him on those with those caps on, the board chair and your professional role as a chief valuer. You cannot separate the two actually when you are doing the briefing to your superior. So that is my concern, but I'm not objecting anything.
Therefore, at the moment, do we need to put under oath now that the PS has explained why?
Yeah, don't need to.
We don't need to.
I don't see it. I've looked at it, and I think the PS
As explained
very well. And she came before us.
Thank you.
So there's no need.
Mheshimiwa Joshua. Thank you, Mheshimiwa Kevin. Mheshimiwa Joshua.
Yeah, Chair, because of future, I think what the PS has explained, it's very clear. But I think the mistake they are doing is that information, the lady could have briefed the CS before, and that information could have been given by the CS without the CS referring back to the lady. So I think now it's just a simple thing. But if going forward, if there is something else which is needed to be information to be given, we can put the lady on oath so that in case of anything else she can reply.
Thank you. I think that is very clear. We've crossed over. Any issue pending? I have one or two issues to raise. Mheshimiwa Nixon and the CS, have you responded to all the issues that we members raised from your side?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you. I want to take you back to your letter. And I want you to look at the second last paragraph, where you did say, henceforth, the board books of accounts should be prepared by the Office of the Auditor General. And then the last paragraph, you underscore that it's the committee that gave you that directive. I want us to be very clear. You know, when the law is written, you cannot again go fishing for any other authority to give you direction. So let you be very specific. Let us be very specific that the law is clear on where you need to go so that there is nobody to advise you. The State Corporations Act, Section 14, guides you on what a state corporation, looking at the Section 3 of the same Act, read together with Section 14 of the State Corporations Act. Go and look at the PFM Act, Section 68 2K. It directs you on how you are supposed to do the accounts of a state corporation. So let it not be like a committee is imposing another direction on you, but you just have to say you have to comply with the law. Yes.
Honorable Chair, thank you very much for the advice. When you look at my the last paragraph, Honorable Chair, I've committed to make sure that all the boards and other state corporations falling under my ministry shall comply with the Public Audit Act and any other legislation with regard to the preparation of financial statements. Yes, I understand there has been that hiccup, but my commitment to this committee is that I will make sure going forward that all the laws are followed and will not be having such hiccups in future. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
That is good, CS, and I really appreciate. But meanwhile, back on what the PS has just said that you've done the 5 years, we need. It was an assignment to when we met the agents last time that you prepare a schedule of earnings, and I hope we can do this by latest not more than Wednesday next week. Let's have the final issues. Then we're also supposed to give timings on when you will now have to invite the Auditor General to come for preliminaries with you. You need to invite the Office of the Auditor General, of course, through themselves direct, not through the liaison office here, but through the OAG direct, to meet and then take stock on how they are going to prepare, audit your books. So those two are the issues which we need from you, and a confirmation letter that you've written to the OAG, inviting them for audit, and a schedule of earnings from inception up to date to determine the revenue and expenditure. So PS, through your office, I'm pretty sure you will be of very great useful to the committee, so that we can get those two details from your side. Colleagues, anyone with any other issue or any comment on what I've said?
Yes, the chair has just confirmed that by Friday next week she'll be ready with the information sought for. She'll be able to meet the auditor. So she confirms it should be given up to Friday next week.
What activity do I expect on Friday? Because there is the issue of the letter, which should not take long, through the office of the PS to the office of the auditor, just a copy. You will copy our committee through the clerk of the National Assembly. And then the issue of the records is what can be allowed up to Friday.
Yes, actually, it's the issue of the records, Honorable Chair.
Yes, yeah. That's fine. And remember, when you look at the records, what our key interest is the issue of revenue. And revenue will cover what the CS might have given you as a grant and any other collection. Then can we have the absorption, how you've absorbed that amount? Number 3, if you have taken back the money to Treasury, can you attach the certificate returning the money to Treasury? Colleagues, I want to give last submissions if there is any, or a question. Yes, Mheshimiwa.
Thank you, Chair. I like the commitment the CS has made in the last paragraph. This is very good. But I wanted that assurance to also be towards facilitating this board to be autonomous so that it can do its job. I think you will appreciate when they are autonomous and taking all those regulations, safety, environment, and all that on their own and stand on their feet. And that also will release your director, chief valuer to do her job. I'm just saying, Chair, that this statement in the last one, I really appreciate it, but please, if you can do amendment to make sure that that is also taken care of, it would be very good.
And we've really gone into another agency's timing, colleagues. We need to quickly summarize. Yes, Bishop.
I just wanted to know whether you have the legal department in the ministry, usually facilitated by the Attorney General, so that vibrantly be able to guide CS, the ministry entirely, and through your technical officers, so that some of these things, like having sagas under the ministry, it is coming out that the officers, something needs to be done. And I think you can tell from this conversation. And it's a small thing, just some linking the dots, and especially in the Department of Legal, in advising about sagas under your ministry.
Yes, Chair. Yes, we have a legal department, and the Bishop has advised. We're really going to be more engaging, and your advice, Chair. We've seen there's a lot for us to do to look into how the board operates, see how as a ministry we can, get right issues that we feel that are not okay. As my peers had indicated, and I don't want it to be a scapegoat, we've been there 8 months, but I can assure you, Chair, things that are wrong, we are going to make them right. and we'll make sure that this board operates the way it should be. Where there are hiccups, with the assistance of this committee, I'm sure we'll get things right. Thank you.
Sure. Yes.
Chair, I just want to assure this committee that it is in the interest, it is in our interest that we have this valuation board independent. We are actually in the process of looking at the legislations governing the valuers, because we realize, unlike surveyors, they have a strong body that governs the surveyors, such that even if there is a rogue surveyor, for example, their license can be cancelled or they can be put to task on certain aspects. We think it is kind of lacking in valuers, and just like also the estate agents, which is now in another state department, and just like Ward Chief, Honorable Ward Chief, has said. We need this board to be funded. We need proper funding so that it can be independent, so that it can be able to check the valuers, because also the president the other day made a pronouncement in regards to valuation for acquisition, for example. Then we need a strong body that governs the valuers, so that we can have valuers who can attach the actual value to properties for acquisition, and the government doesn't lose revenue. So it is in our interest that this board operates independently. It has not been doing that in the past. It's a mistake that was done in the past. We will try as much as possible to get the information that is required by this committee. But moving forward, we will ensure that the right thing is done.
Thank you, PS and CS. Before we give the auditor some minute, you will get a minute, PS, CS, to make any policy direction that you might want to the country, especially issues that are out there. There is a lot of issues to do with getting searches. It's a challenge when you go to the Ministry of Lands. Getting searches, especially for Nairobi, is a big challenge. Maybe you can make a pronouncement through such a forum for Kenyans to know what are you doing about it. Maybe in 5 minutes. That will be your last statement, and maybe from the auditors, what do you have to say? Briefly, we just have maximum 10 minutes. We need to invite another State Department here.
Thank you, Chair, and through you, Chair. The invitation to the Auditor General to audit should be accompanied by the set of financial statements that have been prepared in accordance with the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board templates. So they should not invite the Auditor General's office without the set of financial statements for the years they have been in existence.
And I'm happy the CFO is here. That's the custodian of that. So you should be able to, always an institution is mentored. It must have a mentor. You know where to get those forms in that manner, how to get it from Treasury, on how to report. That is something within your purview, and how to take care of the PFM regulations and the Act. So I think the chairperson should be able to liaise with the CFO to help you upscale the accounts. Allow me to give colleagues, I'm going for final submission. Any issue?
This opportunity is good for me. CS, please go and organize that department, because you are new. It's very difficult to get a record. If you go for research here, it will take almost a whole day. It's so confusing. Please try to streamline that operation. Thank you.
He'll say at the last minute. So, colleagues, Vice Chair, you okay? No. Proceed. Thank you. So let's hear your last submission, CS.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, for that interaction that we've had with members of your committee. Honorable Chair, as Ministry and State Department of Lands and Physical Planning, there's a lot we are doing, and as well put by honorable members, there has been a lot of issues arising on transactions within the State Department. But, Honorable Chair, I want to assure you there is a cure. Currently, we are undergoing digitization of land records. It is an exercise that has not been easy. It was started in the last administration, and I want to confirm that currently we are doing fine. What we did, Honorable Chair, when we got into the office, is to involve all the stakeholders in the land sector. And I can assure you, each and every stakeholder, when I talk of stakeholders, I'm talking of the developer who is coming up with the Adisasa system. We have involved the staff of the ministry and also LSK, ISK, the Bankers Association. We are now working together. And that's why, Honorable Chair, of late, you had, it's a bit quiet. It's not the way it was. We've not had LSK on the streets complaining and making, a lot of allegations because they are now part of what we are doing. And we want to assure you, Honorable Chair, that in the next few months we'll be done with Nairobi, and most matters, most issues that come up is because of the manual records, where there is that human interface, and that way they are prone to a lot of misuse of information, hiding information, but with the digitization, it will be fast, it will be easy, and even the government will collect a lot of revenue. So we are hell-bent to make sure that digitization of land records succeed. Once we are through with Nairobi, we roll out the same to the other parts of the country. And maybe in a year also, we are sure the department will be one that people will be talking positively about. So we are keen to that, and we'll make sure that Kenyans are happy when being served by the State Department.
So say for Nairobi, it will take like how long? How long are Nairobians going to wait?
Maybe 3.
Maybe Chair.
Yes, PS.
I think for Nairobi, we are quite progressing. We should be done by the end of the year. The problem was when we got to office, because of digitization, there were records that had been moved from the hard house to GDC, which was amounting to almost 300,000 parcels. So we had to rearrange them because organize them to be retrievable. Most of those documents have been scanned. Now they are in the EDMS format. Initially, the Ardhisasa system had a lot of hiccups because if you remember, when the Ardhisasa was built, it was built by military and security operators, the NIS and the military. So it was like a security operation. And they did not, the ministry, the State Department of Lands officers were treated as criminals then. And therefore, they were not incorporated and part to develop the system. So the system was developed, which eventually it was expected that the Ministry of Lands officers use the system and the product. But they were not even trained on how to use it. So what we've done is that we've actually brought them on board, critique the system, audit it, which they have done. There were modules that were improved, other modules were developed. Now, actually, Chair, I get very good responses when I walk around, when I meet lawyers, and they say, at least PS or at least CS, the ministry now, there is a lot of output. There is a small challenge, Chair, is that the small challenge is the campaign now. We realized many people try to process, for example, parcels that have not been converted. You know, there's a process of conversion where we are now converting record to comply with the legislations that were passed in Parliament, that now parcels should be referenced in block form. Initially, it was a LR number. Now we are using block. And for you to upload the parcel to Ardhisasa, it must be in block. So you have to convert. If you have a LR 209 stroke something for Nairobi, you have to convert it to a block, which is the first process. Then it is now uploaded to the system. The education part of it was one that was missing. Ministry of Land was underfunded. We've made a pitching to the Treasury. Luckily, we want to appreciate the support you've given us in Parliament because you have approved, including A in A for lands, because we think lands is not like any other ministry or state department that are doing construction of road, they are constructing dam, they are putting electricity. It's a service industry. And therefore, money flow is really important because surveys, you are rendering surveys to Kenyans every day. When a machine, which is worth 10 million breaks, and you cannot replace it immediately, you have to wait for the exchequer, then it delays the service delivery. So right now, at least we got the support of the Treasury and Bunge, and now we got approval for A&A. It will be easy for us now to fix whatever is a challenge immediately without depending on the Treasury entirely. So the process of conversion for Nairobi is complete. A few parcels have not been converted. They are being uploaded to the system. The system is now working. The biggest problem that was we were not able to market Ardhi to the public because it had a problem. And even officers from lands did not know how to use it. But now we are in that campaign way because now we are realizing that even if the system is working and the members of the public do not know how to use it, then it's still a problem. Because right now, many lawyers don't know how to use it. Members of the public don't know how to use it. But those ones that have understood how to operate the system, it is flowing, Chair, and I can say that I'm confident. Now we can roll. We are rolling to Murang'a, we are rolling to Mombasa, we are rolling to Kisumu, Eldoret, and other parts of the country.
I hope Kakamega is under other parts of the country. please. We
are rolling to all the parts of the country.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate because... Yes. Friday. Yeah. Not this Friday, next Friday.
You know, Chair, on a light note, the biggest issue that we have with rolling the Ardhi to other part of the country is the cadastre. The only place where the cadastre was ready was Nairobi, part of Mombasa, and part of Murang'a. We have now an operation which we are seeking the support of the World Bank, and we are almost done in getting the approvals for the World Bank, so that we can build the cadastre for the entire country, because that is the fabric. The cadastre is the fabric where now land parcel sits on. We have cadastre is the map. Is the map, yes. The cadastre is the map. And therefore, so that when you enter a LR number into the Ardhi, then automatically it takes you and pins you to where that land is. And it's a life map, because if tomorrow that land is sold to another person, then it must be captured in the survey that's been sold, and the attributes is transferred immediately, so that if you search after 1 week, it can indicate that it has been sold to that other person. So that map, that means we need to amend all the RIMs, because you will realize if you go to Eldama Ravine, for example, a land was sold to another person, but in the survey it has not been transferred. So we need to amend all the survey maps and put it live into our system, so that immediately Honorable Wangwe buys a parcel, the attributes for that land is transferred to Honorable Wangwe immediately, so that now tomorrow if someone does a search to that parcel, it has already been transferred. If it is subdivided, it is done automatically. If it is amalgamated, it is done automatically. It is only Nairobi that is working, Mombasa Highland and part of Murang'a. We want to roll the building of the cadastre in the entire country, so that now we can put on top now the parcels and the buildings.
I wish you well. Let me not lose the direction of the day. You have missed out on the estate agents. I wanted to see Waziri on Tuesday next week, Wednesday next week, so that we also plan for that, because we are going out to write the report and we don't want to miss out your position on that. Wednesday next week, Waziri, at 9?
That's okay.
Thank you. So we take the date on Wednesday next week. Otherwise, PS, I want to really appreciate your submissions.
Sorry, I'm just being guided here by the PS. On Wednesday next week, I'll be with His Excellency, the President in Mount Kenya region. So maybe from Thursday.
So if it's Thursday at 11.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we do it Thursday at 11. I want to thank you, PS, for the good submission. I'm happy you've not left being a people's representative, and you're working for the people. You're our ambassador there. Please hold brief for us and represent us well. Kenyans look forward to seeing our different lands, where you and I could spend money on CDF. Then when we go to get the land, we find that that land is not there. now it is you who is representing us. Be our good ambassador. The issue of valuation is at the heart of this committee because when you look at the losses the government is losing in terms of how much they are paying, who determines that value is the valuers. So the moment you give them autonomy and supervise them properly, we will get this country to the right place. That's the main source of problems. So let us empower this board so that it stands alone under your ministry, and then we get Kenya correct. If you are building a unit of 5 million, the value of the land is half that building. It doesn't make sense. Or even at times it's even double the cost of that building. It doesn't make sense. Can we streamline and make our country better? This is our country for all of us. Thank you very much, Waziri, for coming. We really appreciate. We look forward to working together. Thank you. We adjourn the sitting.